see her doing the beauty treatments. I watched her while she went to study. Uh, I looked on as she was making the products. Then I started at an very early age, helping her label them.
Okay.
And I gradually, if somebody asked me for the day when I started working in Shahnaz Herbal, I don't think I can really determine that day, because it's a legacy that has just come to me
Yes.
in the process of living.
Yes. I think you've
So it's
grown
a
up.
wonderful legacy to take forward. Yes, yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, Nelofar, wonderful. So, how did you embark on the journey of writing a book on your mother?
So actually, it was just a very interesting little incident that happened. Some things in life are completely unplanned; they're just meant to be.
Hmm.
I was with my mother almost every evening. We went to Barista. That was our meeting place in GK2, and it started a little bookshop at one point.
Okay.
So I was sitting and having coffee, and as usual, she loves buying gifts for everybody. She had gone to the bookshop to browse around and pick up books, and she picked up a book that she came and gifted me with. And when I opened it, it said, "Write a book on me someday,
Oh,
Nilufer."
huh.
So it was a book written on Gulzar's life by his daughter. So that's how it all started. I mulled over the idea for a while, and then I thought it really wasn't fair for a daughter to write a book because I wouldn't have the correct. My perspective would be extremely colored.
Hmm.
And so happened that I was visiting Bhutan. I remember meeting the Queen of Bhutan, and she's the one who was so insistent. Actually, she convinced me. She
Hmm.
said, the memories you have of your mother, nobody has, and it'll be lost. And write this book as a tribute, as a memoir to your mother. And that's exactly, and I was quite convinced, really. And I started writing it, and it was, anyone who reads that book, there's a tremendous flow.
Right.
It's something that it just came to me. It's written with a lot of love, with a lot of heart, and I couldn't really separate my journey from hers. So it was as if I was writing my life with her.
Yes, I can.
Honey, I
Yes.
can see you there.
For
A
all
friend
my
of mine who was waving.
See, for all my audience, I would like to share the cover of the book cover. At least we can have the feel of it during the session. Yeah,
Yes.
it's so beautiful.
Everyone should read it. It
Yes,
makes you cry. It makes you laugh. It's a beautifully written book.
yes, it's a beautifully.
सुन क्यों नहीं सकते हैं
I would also like to mention that this book has been translated
साउंड क्यों
in
नहीं आ
several
रहा
Indian languages.
उस पे क्यों नहीं आएगा उस पे
It's
ओपन नहीं आ
been
पाएगा
done by
क्या
it's been done by
विदाउट ईयरफोन नहीं आएगा मैम
Look, just a
क्यों
minute. I would request
Yatra.
everybody to please keep yourself on
व्हाट्सएप
mute.
क्यों नहीं आएगा विदाउट ईयरफोन नहीं आएगा मैम
That's the future. Please keep yourself on mute and do not disturb the session. It's a request.
ईयरफोन पे ट्राई कर लेना चाहिए था
Can you just ring up moms and say not to make any sound there because it's coming on the thing?
Okay. Okay, Nelofar, please carry on.
Yeah. So where was I? Basically, I wrote the book with and it just came as as an expression of my life, really. And what I want to say is that I'm a great believer in the Indian languages. I think a book in a language is a book to a child who's reading an Indian language is somewhat like a computer. Maybe he's the first generation that is reading. So my book is translated in Bengali. It is translated in Tamil. It is translated in Malayalam, and it is translated in Hindi.
Oh.
And my great pride was when it was released at the Jaipur Lit Fest, and Namita Gokhale actually took the rights for the Hindi version. So that was wonderful. That was my big moment in life.
Congratulations to you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Nilofer, I'll read something from the book and then I'll put my next question to you. This
Sure.
is a story of my mother who was born a flame so bright that not all of life's storm could douse a single spark of her intensely free spirit. Every time a wave splashed on her, she rose again with an irrepressible energy, the energy of life and passion. Such a beautiful line. So, Nelufo, just share something about with us, about the title of the book, Flame. The
So,
title.
since I wrote the book, everybody has, put this question to me. And quite simply, when I thought of the book,
Hmm.
the name just came to me in an instant. It wasn't any process of considering names or
Hmm.
thinking through the names. I said, book on my mother, Flame.
Oh,
That's it. It was always Flame instantly. And it has got nothing to do with anything except her own personality. It's
right.
coming low battery. Just see if it please. So it was nothing except her own personality, which is so strong. She is actually the embodiment of a flame. A flame is something that is irrepressible, that rises. And if you read through the book, you find that there is no situation where she accepts no. I think so. So, hello? So there is no situation where she accepts a negative, that this cannot happen.
Right.
There is no situation which brings her down. Every human being, you see the success and the end product, but you don't know what they have gone through and through the process what they are going to go through. So that's the story of the flame that is still going on. That's my mother.
Yes. 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 Nilofer, would you like to go down the memory lane and share, few incidents with us? Few incidents that, that come to your mind when you go down the memory.
Yes. Yeah, this whole process of writing this book was going down memory lane, and there was some just beautiful moments. So I'm really a believer in the fact that what we call the different janams are right here in front of us in our lives, and each one of us lives several lives in one. So I see my mother when I read about her in college, when I had never seen her in school, a different person, and then I see her as a mother that I had when I was a young child, and that is my most beautiful memory of her. And there's this chapter in the book where she takes up her first job for 175 rupees a month in a place called Nari Kala Mandir to design clothes for young children.
Okay.
And instead of a salary, she took dresses for me. And because she'd love to dress me up, and my father didn't get a very huge salary, and this was the only way she could dress me up really beautifully, even though she came from a very uh, illustrious family. My grandfather was a chief justice, but that is my favorite memory of her. And of course, there are these hugely enigmatic memories of her being approached by the Estee Lauder group, and me, my son at that time was in the business, him and my husband all accompanying her. And the Estee Lauder representatives came to speak to her and about launching Estee Lauder in India, because they thought of her as the only person who would, be, in sync with a brand like that, and the only competition they would have. So she said that you have nothing to give me, you have everything to take from me. So uh, her ability to look at the most famous international brand in the world and
Yes.
say that I'm better
Oh,
speaks a lot of the confidence she had in Shahnaz herbal and in Indian herbs.
yeah, very true.
So these are some interesting memories. Yes.
Yeah. Nilofer, while I was reading the book, there are chapters on loss, especially those when you lost your father, your brother. How tough was it to, share those instances in the book and go down those memory lanes?
You know, loss is the toughest part of life.
Yeah.
There's no way to make it easier.
Yeah.
When I lost my father, it was very different from when I lost my brother. When I lost my father, I was very young. It was, and I became at that point, I think, quite definitely and quite honestly, I began to mother my mother. I became very protective towards her,
Mm.
and it affected my life personally a lot because I just had the next day I went and sat on the chair and I started working to keep the company going, because my mother was extremely bereaved, and it was a situation where I didn't get the time to grieve because I was taking care. My brother was younger. When I lost my brother, again I was taking care of my mom. Yes, and it was I think in that sense I've been the kind of support pillar that has never taken had the time to grieve. So I think in a way it helps you because you see what is there and for what you have to do in life. But loss is loss. And it took me a year to start rewriting the book because I hadn't covered my brother's loss, obviously, and I didn't want to. Yeah.
Beauty is only skin deep. Would you like to comment on this?
Well, I truly believe that if you're a relaxed person, if you do not carry burdens of yesterday with you, I think most of us spend our future burdened with yesterday. I kind of forgive everything in my life. I mean, I'm not forgiving this sounds a little egoistic that I have the right to forgive, but I close chapters. I don't hold any resentments. And I think that is something which I think is the most relaxing thing in life is to close the door on yesterday, to walk ahead, to be positive. All these things, you see a relaxed face without wrinkles. What does it come from? Not just screams. It comes with being a relaxed and easy, unburdened person. So I think that's very important. I think exercise is very important. Exercising to me is very important if you are exercising with something that is giving you joy. I think this new thing of being in gyms and pumping iron gives you a slim but tired look, honestly, unless you're loving it for some reason. But if you say go to a park and you're walking or running or you're swimming in an ocean or wherever, and you're loving that, that acceleration of that happiness of that exercise comes. And of course, a great diet. And that beauty is not skin deep then.
So you mean inner beauty and outer beauty both?
Yes, I think I don't want to be so, you know, boring as to say if you're a good person. But yes, if your life is uncomplicated, if your mind is uncluttered, and if you're easy, you do a bit of meditation and exercise and good food. I think if you keep your life simple, it adds to your beauty.
Well,
And a nice smile always helps.
yes. Okay. And for while reading the book, I found that you and your mom, you both have very different personalities. Still, you both make a best duo, a best a best combination. So, how do you both connect? Would you like to share with us how is the mother-daughter team?
So basically, I feel that I totally agree. My mother and I are very, very different people. And somehow I've always felt that people who are similar, it's not very easy for them to get along. They're two strong people. My mother is a very strong, enigmatic personality. I'm I'm strong within in a different way, but I'm very private. And I think when you are searching for different things and not the same thing, then there is no conflict of interest and no conflict in personalities. I think that's the best way to work together when you are actually both seeking different things, yet, or maybe we're both actually right now seeking the success of Shahnaz Herbal further and further. but perhaps in different ways. Whereas my mother is absolutely to the forefront and does everything that I do, but better. What I take care of is more of the. I love doing the creative side of the business. I love doing the marketing, the distribution, the hardcore, deep heart of the business. So I think that works very well, and we are best friends.
Oh, lovely.
We're buddies. And we have a 16-year age difference, so we're like sisters.
Oh, wow. That's lovely. Okay. Being a daughter of such an enigmatic and successful lady, how have you felt in your growing up days? And what does success mean to you?
So something that I haven't been able to fathom about myself is that I'm totally unaffected by my mother's success. Sometimes I feel, what is this? I should be kind of getting a better high on this or something, but it just doesn't happen to me. I don't know why. I don't have a reason for it. I am very, very I'm very impressed with the way that I'm very much a fan of my mother's success. I read her book and I've written her book, so I've been through every nuance of her life. So I'm very conscious of the great person she is. But when you talk about success as in a glitzy way, being brought up as the daughter of a celebrity, I'm I'm very laid back about my attitude as being my mother's daughter. Is very laid back, very easy. I'm very comfortable with it. To me, she's my mother, and that's it.
Okay, that's nice. Nelofar, we would like to hear about Nelofar as a person. If you have to say Nelofar as a person, what would you like to share with us? Share with our audience.
I think I'm spiritual.
Okay.
I think I love working because I've seen my mother working, and I think it's very fulfilling. I think every woman should work.
Oh, lovely.
I think I like ownership of my life, in the sense that I like to work. I like to express myself, and I believe in the completeness of being a woman, which I've learned from my mother, that she has actually achieved everything she's got in life without losing out on family life.
Oh, great.
She had so I think as a person, I think what is important to me is work and family and creating a balance between the two.
And
That's what I would like to propagate to all women.
Great. And Nelofar as a business entrepreneur.
I think it's so exciting, the field that I'm in. I sometimes I feel that the lines on my mother's hands extend onto mine because our destinies are interconnected. So I'm really, really involved in what she created. And I think beauty, as an entrepreneur, I think the scope for beauty is unlimited. Even today in a lockdown, they're not, all of us had to put makeup, I think, to come on come onto the thing. So we're always we're always going to be, in business, in the sense that this is a growing market.
Yeah.
It will always grow, and it is so important because it's very important for the woman's self-esteem.
Yes.
If she looks good, if she feels good, and if she feels good, everything is happier.
Yeah.
So I see this as a market that will keep growing regardless of which situation hits humanity.
Yeah. And here I would also like to share with the audience that there's a beautiful line that you've written. There is always time if you have the will to look beautiful, she maintains. I really liked these lines.
So actually, this is something that my mother has always believed in.
Yeah.
I have never seen my mother looking untidy. My kids would go to visit her. She would be looking beautiful. If she knows that her grandson is coming to see her, she will dress up as well as when she's going to a party.
Oh, great.
So, and she also believes that it doesn't matter what audience you have, your audience at home is just as important. And I've seen her, I've written in the book, I've seen her getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning before a flight to put henna. It is just the effort that you need to put in. That's what she believes in.
Yes, and I think every woman needs to understand this. There's no
Sure.
line such ki time nahi mila, hai na, for your own beauty.
Yes, yes,
And we would like to also hear Nelofar as an author, because you were a wonderful poet. You've written beautiful poems,
yes.
good books. Would you like to share your journey as an author with us? And probably you can even share about your other books that you've written.
Yes, in fact, I started my writing very young as amateur poet, which is very common. And my mother asked me to write this book because she told me once that your letters are so nice that when you write your email, I've started collecting them, and I'll collect them and make a book someday. So I had this flair for writing, and I think Flame gave me the opportunity to discover that part of myself, and now it's something that I can't ever live without. My second book was Eyes of the Healer.
Mm-hmm.
Could you ask me for my other book, please? I'll show it to you. It's actually a 5,000 word poem, a story, but in verse form. It's a spiritual journey of a boy called Govinda. So very interesting, and I hope to make that into a stage show one day.
Mm-hmm.
And my third novel is ready. This has been the best time for me to edit it. It's a love story,
Mm-hmm.
and dying to send that out into the world.
Oh, lovely.
And
So,
I've had to write loads of books. Yeah,
and all the best to you for that new book that is going to come.
thank you.
Yeah. So, this book is an interesting read for every dreamer who dares to dream the almost impossible. Your book has very beautifully unfolded the struggles of Shehnazi and became an inspiration for each one of us. The book is an inspiring tale. How do you think it can create a difference in people's life?
Sorry, I missed the second
How
line.
yeah, Nelufar, my question to you is, how does this book, can this book create difference in people's life? It's an
I
inspiration.
think I think there are people who have been so affected by her life. There are women. You see, my mother got married at the age of 16. Her mother, she went to school in the Parda Ka.
Mhm.
She got married in a conservative family. I think it is a hugely important book for women in India who are still, as we know, we have a lot of liberality in big towns, but as you go down to the smaller towns, there is so much of conservativeness for women, and it is a woman. An important read. I think every young girl should read it just to know that if she wants something, she can find it.
Yes.
She can go for it, provided she takes charge of her life and moves ahead.
Yeah, and how
So I think that's hugely important for women's entrepreneurship, and the she really. It's very different to read a textbook kind of a thing, a help book on women entrepreneurship, and it just says you should do this. But here is a book which is showing you how a woman did it, how she achieved this success. And I think that's where the importance
We are on
lies.
mute.
Great. Good to see you. Great. Lovely.
will you like to share
Super.
an incident which is close to your heart in the book?
Uh, there are so many incidents, really. I think I remember one of the most beautiful incidents of my mother celebrating the Eid at her village, her farmhouse in Gorge.
Hmm.
She actually went from house to house in the village, wearing a ghagra, distributing sweets to every person.
Oh,
It's that enthusiasm in life that I'd really like to think of, to feel that this is what life is.
Yeah.
And can you imagine a villager opening the door, and there's my mother wearing a village ghagra, presenting them with a box of sweets. And that's a kind of incident that is really not written about so much, but it's so amazing.
I can imagine. I remember having, you mentioned in the book that you had to move your things out of your room in Tehran at 11 so that my mother could run a parlor out of it with creams and lotion. So how did you feel during that time? I mean, a young girl being,
Uh,
vacating her room. So what was your feeling?
I'm sure I didn't like leaving my room at the age of 11. I don't know if anything else seemed important at that time. But no, I didn't. I didn't enjoy the idea of leaving my room and
But you did.
packing my stuff and you know
Huh.
going out. No, it was one of the things that I think, one of the memories that makes me feel, yeah, that's some sacrifice, but it passes. You go
Hmm.
to the next stage in life. Yeah,
Okay.
that was a very small sacrifice, compared to what life brings later.
Yes, that's true. What's the quality in your mother that you admire the most? And given a
I
chance,
think, yeah.
yeah, please continue.
So, I think the quality that I admire most in my mother is to take from life what people take in several lifetimes, to also give in life what people give in several lifetimes, give as if, as like a give of herself. If a person will come to meet her, she'll go out of her way, a complete passion for life. And once again, I'll repeat what I touched upon before,
Hmm.
is what I really admire is the way that she has carried forward her career, her family life, her children. So sometimes, when you are faced with a difficult situation, you say, is it going to be my career or my marriage? It was never that. It was that her marriage was the most important thing, but she would find her career and take both along. And that is what I would really like to pass across to girls these days, is the sanctity and the wholeness of life. The joy of even motherhood. Yeah, I think, a woman gains as much by having a child as a child does in creating the life. So I think the joy of motherhood, the joy of family life was something I don't ever remember missing, even
Lovely.
though my mother was working.
That's really great. That's really great. And what are the traits that, if given an option, you're being blessed with three traits? So, which three traits of your mom would you like to inherit?
Ah, I have inherited her hair, but
Oh, no.
I don't know. That's not a trait. So I would love to inherit. I would love to have her extreme positivity.
Okay,
I would love to have her determination,
lovely,
and what else? Yeah, and her warmth.
great. And probably her
You
belief
know,
that,
just I know you already have her determination. I don't think you have to
Well,
say that I'd love.
yeah, I guess I probably have or don't have by now, whatever was there. But
You
I would
already
love
have
to
the
give some
determination.
advice to women who are in lockdown right now.
hmm,
If I may just put in a few words, I think it's very important to keep looking good in lockdown.
very
Is
true.
my voice coming through?
Yes, yes.
So it's very
Yes, yes.
important. Do it for yourself first, and then do it for your family. So it's really important that you get up in the morning, you dress up in something comfortable, you do your hair, and you send that good energy all through the house, because it's so important to keep positive right now.
Very true.
So looking good. So
But
don't let
I'm
yourself
like
go.
this on
Keep
the outside also.
exercising.
I know we didn't get you. We didn't hear you.
Sorry.
I said नहीं मैं बाहर भी तैयार होके नहीं जाती मैं ऐसी ही रहती हूँ मुझ में फर्क नहीं पड़ा
So you must
but
be
I
a
understand
natural
what you're
beauty,
saying,
I'm
Nelofar,
sure.
because I think a lot of women are feeling lost because they feel the opportunities that they had about getting dressed, meeting people, feeling cheerful have gone. But if you do it for yourself, all of that, if you look at the neuro-linguistic programming, if you recreate what feels good about it, it will happen from within as well.
Yes, absolutely. And you've got to keep the positivity going and know that this is a temporary period. And you also start changing your audience. You start finding that, okay, let your dress up for your family. And of course, we can count on Shweta to do more shows like this. And, I washed my hair today and straightened it because, I was going to be coming in front of you all. So I think the whole reality is going to change a little bit.
Yes.
But we have to keep the environment positive.
Yes.
Well, looking good helps a lot.
Yes. There's a feel-good factor.
Yes, this boy Akash, he was doing an FB live with me and he tells me, Didi, please liner or lipstick laga ke aayega online, normal ki tarah mat aa jayega.
So you see,
we will take two more questions and then we'll. So whoever wants to ask, please, a short question, short and precise, please.
Can I ask a question, Nelofar, which is about you and not about your mother?
Sure.
So as I know very little about you, but as little as I know about you, you have had some tremendous challenges too.
Yes, I have had tremendous challenges. I lost my son. So something that my mother and I have in common, unfortunately, is that we both lost sons. It's very difficult, and it's hard to speak about it.
And I think human level पे to lose a young child से painful शायद दुनिया में कुछ नहीं और होता.
Yes.
It's
and
unimaginable.
to be a survivor of that, and in the cheerful demeanor and the positive demeanor, I think it's absolutely admirable. And I think would
I think
at some point like to at least have a glimpse.
Well, I've thought of writing a book on loss because I think so many people go through loss and it is very difficult. And the only way to survive loss is to look ahead at what you have. And I think what really kept me going was my other son who needed me. So I think that is where you reach out to those around you and give yourself reasons to be alive and be around for the others.
Yeah, okay. So this sense of being needed by someone who you care deeply for is what kept you going.
Absolutely. I would say it's probably almost maybe the only thing, yes. And because my mind immediately went, he was not here, he was in Canada, my older son. And my mind went to him. I said, my God, and I sent 3 people from India to break the news to him because he couldn't come down because of his visa. And my whole anxiety was to, keep my other child going.
Yeah.
Hi, can I ask the last question?
Yeah.
This
Sure.
is to me. Hi, Nelofar.
Hi.
How are you,
Hi,
darling?
Sumi. My morning newspapers. She sends me my morning papers every day. I'm very popular in my family because of her.
I'm so glad. Besides writing, Nelofar, I think, grows all her knowledge by reading so much. I mean, she's one ardent reader who actually goes through the trouble of reading more than 40 newspapers that I send her every day.
Wow. I don't read a single newspaper. I can't. That's admirable.
Okay, so you don't have to read all the newspapers, but then there are more than like, I don't know, a dozen or maybe 20 important global articles I share with her, interesting from different
Can we have a quick
journals
question?
which she reads.
Yeah.
Okay, quick
Let's have a
question
quick
to
I
question.
love
Nelufar.
them. I love them. And Sumi has the most beautiful. She should have a channel now.
Yeah.
God bless you. God bless you. Nelufar, my question is, the world is battling with a pandemic, and mental health has become a major issue. Other than which the topic is inner beauty, exterior beauty, which is all causing a lot of depression. So how do you maintain that balance, especially because you have the spiritual side to you? You're also into the beauty trade as well as the beauty services. So how do you maintain that balance between mental, emotional, beauty, that spiritual, that entire combination? If you can give a quick tip for all the listeners, and maybe if you can put out something through all your mediums, so that people can get a balance in this current scenario, will be really helpful for our readers, listeners. And maybe if you can create a small Snapchat, which I can share to all my readers also.
Sure, would love to. Would love to do that.
Great.
Actually, I think what is very important is to create timings and routine in lockdown. So
Okay.
the most terrible thing is when you lose track of your watch or your time
Fabulous.
pattern. So if you just say 10 o'clock in the morning, I do this, and I think what I've started doing is getting ready, because I've been used to going to office all my life. I work in Nehru Place on
Most
a
of
table
us.
and chair. Yes, so
Hmm.
I get up, I have a walk, and after that I sit, I get ready, I do a session of exercise, I have my breakfast, I read the papers that you send me, and then I get ready and I sit down on the table and chair. And I also make it a point to interact with nature in whatever way you can. You have to do that. For me, I try to get up early so that I can spend that 15 minutes in the open, whatever space that you have. If you stay with nature, you find it so positive.
And so
It's
sweet.
very
And a little bit
therapeutic.
of meditation helps.
Very therapeutic.
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody else who wants to have a question? We can have one last question.
I had a, yeah, I have
Is Shahnaz online delivering right now?
We'll tell you
any
soon.
Shweta?
A
Okay.
little patience.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best is yet to come, is the clue.
Yes. Have patience.
The icing on the top.
I think
The
most
best is
For
yet to
us,
come.
Nilofer is the icing for all the Elsas. We love you, Nilofer.
How sweet. How sweet.
anybody else who has a
No, I
question?
had a question.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, this is Shazia, Shweta. Hi, Nilofer.
Hi. Hi, Shazia.
Hi. Hi. Great to see
My
my
neighbor, my
neighbor.
sister, my friend, and a whole lot of things. Nilofer, I want to ask you this. You've been a gentle warrior. You're this great wordsmith. There's so many different ways I could describe you. And there's also something very soulful and serene about you, and even the way you have endured your losses. How do you keep your patience and you don't allow bitterness to come into your life? The inner sweetness, the childlike innocence that you retain. So I'm sure it's a struggle to keep up with that and be forgiving. So how do you allow a sense of forgiveness in a larger sense to prevail over the life's trials?
Uh, I think when you realize, you have to actually consciously, it's not very natural to forgive. It is
Yeah.
it is natural to feel anger. It is natural, it is human nature to feel anger, resentment against anything that destiny or fate or person may have wronged you. But you have to make that conscious effort. And when I realized that the most important thing in my life is to close the door on last night. It doesn't exist. And the only thing that matters is tomorrow. And if you forgive, you feel lighter. You gain more
Yes.
by forgiving than the person you've forgiven. It's quite likely that the person you've forgiven doesn't even know you were angry with them. You know, that
Yeah.
happens so often that,
So,
you know,
so
people
it's,
who need to be forgiven are somehow, often maybe it's a nasty person who couldn't be bothered if you're angry. So, and you're also kind of burning yourself up. And when I realized that, and I thought a lot about it, and I said the most important thing for me is to forget and close doors. So I shut the door on last night.
yeah,
I shut the door on last night.
wonderful.
Just,
That's great.
yeah.
And
And
I
then
think
you
I
feel
think
you're
it's so
going through
important
life
to,
without any baggage.
Yes.
yeah,
That is
exactly.
important.
That's why.
I think that is very
Wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very important.
So Nelofar, I think we are ready for the
So, for the surprise, so ladies, I have a surprise. The heroine
and
of
for the
my book
gentlemen.
is right here. I will request Krishna, to put the camera on my mother.
Yay!
Is Krishna
Lovely.
there?
Yeah, welcome, ma'am. Welcome, Shahnaz, ma'am. So good to have you with us. Good evening, ma'am, and we welcome you all. Welcome you here. So I
Is she
have.
coming on the?
Am I
Did you
audible?
see her?
Yeah, I can see her, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Okay.
Ma'am, go unmute her. Just a minute. We'll have to unmute her. She's kept herself on mute.
Oh, I'll tell her.
I have done it. I've done it.
Krish,
Yeah, I've done it. Nelofar, oh, she's on. She's unmuted.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
I welcome you, ma'am.
Hello, hello.
So good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ma'am, can I
Auntie
ask you something for this evening, with your due permission?
Most welcome.
How do you feel? You know, it was as I was going through the book, you say that Nelofar, I would like you to write about my life, and today the book is in your hand. So how is the feeling of your daughter who's written such a beautiful book on you? How is this feeling, and how do you feel about it?
I think that it's very hard to explain the feeling, but I don't think anybody in the world could have written the book the way she has, because she's written things about me that I don't even remember. She's so good.
no, I
And her
haven't
English
made them up.
you know, her English is so good. Her English is so good that I keep telling her that, you know, you should go up for the Nobel. Whether anybody sends it up or not, I think I should send it up because the English is flawless, not just this book, but otherwise. She's out of the world. And I couldn't write as good English as her.
Sweet.
So
She's excellent.
yeah, actually excellent.
The born writer.
Yeah.
I write well, but not as good as her. Her English is better.
Did you on the
And how did you feel, you know, while reading the book? How could you both connect the journey?
It's fantastic. Was, you know, reading her book was like reliving my entire life, and things that she put so beautifully, they, you know, sounded so good that I wondered, you know, what a beautiful life. So whatever I went through, it wasn't easy, and I had my share of pain. But then there's something like tomorrow, and there were times when I felt very, very down and out and impossible to carry on. But then I had a very good reason to carry on. And Nelofar, the problem is that Nelofar has never been a daughter. She's been really a good friend. She's more a friend than a daughter. So, you know, whenever I have to take a decision, the office I keep bringing up. She thinks, and normally I'm wrong.
Really?
And he says, no, mommy, I don't think this is right. And normally I change because I know that I'm wrong.
No. Nelofar, do you feel that?
Not at all.
because
Not at all.
because
My
no,
mother
no,
has
because
the most
I
amazing
take a decision.
instincts.
Yes.
I know, I run the company with my heart, and then she uses her head. So I think that's a lethal combination.
Yeah. So you
Hmm.
think mother-daughter team is the best team?
There couldn't be a better team, because then I said that she uses her head and I use my heart,
So it's the
and I
perfect.
think that is a lethal combination. I use my heart actually more than my head. I think that's the way I put it in the company. I make such decisions that maybe uh, are not good financially, but I think that there's something called financial power, and there's something called beauty power, which is fine, and there's something called spiritual power. And I think that I use my company more with my heart, and then she uses the head. I keep, feeling all the time that is this right or wrong, is this fair or not fair,
Yeah.
and then I keep checking with her. Like, normally, mommy, this won't work out. So then I really take a decision without asking. But I normally know that I'm sure I'm wrong.
Nelofar, would
I
you like to
didn't.
add something here?
I think my mother has the most amazing instincts. Sometimes in a meeting, we are all sitting over there, and she'll just say a figure, a price for a cream or a product, and we will take 1 hour to calculate and consider and everything, and come to the same conclusion. But her instincts, she's got business instincts which are highly developed. She doesn't think, she responds, she reacts in the correct way. She's a natural. My mother's a natural. That's why
No,
I'd say that
I
she's
was
a
never.
phenomena who created this business. A
Yes.
complete
I was never
phenomenon.
educated.
While Mang
I was
was
never
saying
educated in business.
Nilofer is the head and she's the heart, I was thinking, well, Nilofer is all heart as much as I know her. And
Yeah.
then when you spoke about her, we realized that she doesn't think she's head, but she's so intuitive that she doesn't need the head. So Ma'am is all intuition and Nilofer is all heart. The head has no role to play in this beauty business.
I think
She's
that's
head and
beautiful.
heart. She's head and heart. I'm only heart.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
There's certain things that, whenever I want to launch something, I keep looking at, is it right? Is it good? Is it okay? And a lot of my decisions are the kind that I'm quite happy to financially lose. I keep telling my chemist, doesn't matter if we lose. You have to go ahead.
Yes.
You have to see everything. You see the public financial situation and what level that you're running at. And I'm quite happy to lose and go ahead, and she's not prepared to lose. So no, mommy, it won't work out.
Ma'am, for
I
us,
just think,
for me personally, and a lot of my friends, when we were in LSR, for us, we grew up at some level with the Shahnaz products, and it has remained the benchmark for us. For any new product, it's almost like, is it as good as Shahnaz or not?
Yes. And till date, I think.
when I went to the problem, I don't know whether all of you know that, but one of the reasons why I'm a little unusual, and maybe you don't realize that, is I've never advertised.
Yes.
And that's the reason why I went to Harvard, because the Harvard professor kept calling me, and
Yeah.
the Harvard professor kept calling me and saying, "Would you like to come and lecture at Harvard?"
Hmm.
And I said, "Not even a graduate. How can I lecture in Harvard? I've done a master's in skin, but not in business management."
Hmm.
And then he actually flew in to invite me. And I said that, "What do you want me to do? I don't know what you want me to lecture, because you want me to talk on business, but I don't know business. I'm not educated in that." And I said that the problem is that we give advice in Harvard that when you launch a brand, the most important thing is publicity. And you violate every norm we teach in Harvard. Whatever we teach in Harvard, you're the opposite. So we want you to come and lecture. And first I lectured in Harvard, then I lectured at MIT, and then I stopped. I thought that was the ultimate.
You
So,
have a
and
lot of word of mouth going around about you. Don't worry about it.
no, but
Everybody who's
I think that
experienced your product and felt
what is
good
the
and
use
feel
of giving
complimented.
a one-page ad that this is a new product and you must try it, but tomorrow morning there'll be a bigger ad with another product. I think word of mouth is important, and that is what is important. If you love something and you tell 10 people that it has worked. Whatever it is. The problem is we're not in beauty, we're in treatments and cures, like falling hair, dandruff, acne, pigmentation, treatments from plants. Because that is also the reason I was not trained as a Ayurvedic chemist, I was trained as a chemical expert, and nobody knows that. But then when I was in school and they asked me that one of my friends wasn't there, and I said, "Why is she here today?" And she said that, "Oh, she used a new eyeliner and she lost her eyesight." And I thought at that time, if somebody can become blind with the use of an eyeliner, there's something wrong with the beauty business.
Yeah.
And I came back to India
Wow.
and went into huge investigation into Ayurveda and created products for the eyes and of course the entire body and face from plants. And I think that Nilva is very big help because whatever I want to create, I keep bringing her up. Is it okay? Is it okay? Is it right? And she always has a better suggestion that I have to say about. Together we do the best that we can. It's
Nilofar,
not easy, but it's
comments?
That my mother's been very kind to me.
Yeah, yes. Ma'am, during this
it's not easy.
lockdown, yeah. Can I ask you one more question? During this lockdown, what beauty tips? Give us some tips on how to take care of our skin, our hair during this lockdown.
I'll tell you that for me, the lockdown is just the word. I'm doing exactly what I did before, except going out of the door. I get up in the morning, then I do my yoga, then I do my meditation, then I have my routine, my bath and whatever, and then rest, and then I have lunch, and then 2 onwards, I start uh, my work. And like we had 1900 emails yesterday. So then I keep bringing up Nilofar and checking, and then we keep setting her copies so she also knows what's happening. And we're running the company exactly the same, except that we don't see the people. And I think for a long time we won't be seeing them because the problem that I see as it is, it will be more really online for a long time. And I think that safety is better than whatever we can think of. And now we must go now maybe to a range only of uh, germ-free sanitizers and things. And I keep thinking of new things like a sanitizer for furniture and a sanitizer for um, the room and a sanitizer for the hands and a sanitizer for anything. You need a range of sanitizers. So that is, I think, the word of tomorrow is sanitizers.
Thank you so much.
Cosmetics is fine. People still want to look good, but then this new trend of the virus means that you have to move with the times.
And beauty suggestions to all our audience. What should they do to take care of the skin and the
I
hair?
think that whatever you were doing when there was no lockdown is exactly what you should be doing now. Why should they, except for opening the door and going out and having fun outside, you can have the same thing out in the house. I walk roughly 7 to 8,000 feet steps in the day, and I do the same. And I keep telling Nilofar also, you keep walking, but she's lovely, got a lovely garden. But I just feel that uh, apart from going out, your life is the same. I had to get up in the morning. I'm dressed exactly the same, whether there's anything happening or not. For me, it makes no difference. Just go on, and I'm sure it'll just go on like this until everything opens again. And I'm sure that this online will come into force now with the present day situation. Just to take life as it comes.
Very nice.
So I think that's the way there should be no pressure on the mind that there's lockdown. Nilofar is always there on the phone, so she's safe there, and I'm happy.
Mom's more worried about you.
It's so sweet. Sorry?
She's worried about you. She's more worried about you. But Nilofar is safe.
Moms always are worried. I always say motherhood is a disease. You never cure yourself of it.
And
My
she
husband always said,
very
"Why are you
lucky.
worried about the children?" So I've always said that because I have the motherhood disease. It's the most beautiful disease in the world.
Yes, it's the most beautiful disease, undoubtedly.
You have a certain positive way of thinking that yesterday is the today you worried about yesterday. So you must think of tomorrow, and today doesn't exist because by the time you think of today, it's gone. So it's always tomorrow. And tomorrow can always be better than today.
Yes.
I always believe there's no such thing as destiny. You make your own destiny. You'll be what
Yes.
you will
This is,
yourself to.
yeah, this is your line which really inspires me.
Yes, yes.
I
You were very impressed with that line, in fact.
yes, very true. So that's really great.
I think if you're walking and you see a door, that at least that's the way I am, and I'm sure that's the way Nelofar is too. That if I'm walking and I see a door, I don't ever turn my back and walk away. I break the wall and walk through and let the world fall into place.
Great. Yes.
I don't think women should really be worried about, if I have work, this will happen, that, let me ask this one, ask that one. I think if you're doing your duties in the house and you're free, then your life is yours. You're born alone, you live alone, you go alone. And what you do with your life is your business, nobody else's.
Yes. So true.
Woman is in charge of her own life. She need not take permission. She can inform.
Very true. Very true. Lovely. Lovely. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your presence here.
Most good, most good. I
Thank you.
remember LSR because at one time I used to come and lecture there.
Yeah.
I used to come and give talks in LSR.
Yes.
Very lovely. Beautiful. For next door.
Yes.
LSR will always be LSR.
And we have a lot of Elsas here, right, on the sessions today. So thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Nelofar.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you,
so much. I
Nilofer.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you to all my friends who are there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks to
Bye.
everybody who was listening us. I hope you all had a great time. And thanks again, Nelofar. Thank you, ma'am, for sparing your
Thank you.
time. It was really a privilege
you.
to have you today. It was a really
Thank you.
fun-filled and learningful evening. So
Thank you.
thanks
Thank you.
everybody, and stay home, stay safe till we meet again. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Good to see you.
See you.
मैं बोला था तो बहुत कुछ खराब हो पता नहीं हमेशा ही होता है बंद हो गया